I'm a film critic here in Chicago for HollywoodChicago.com. Heidi and I met through this fine place. First off, let's give it up for the Lincoln Park Room. Yes, one of the finest venues in Chicago right now. And so we're going to do a little interview with this, the belle of the ball tonight. Let's start off with just a little background. Where you were born and the points along the way that got you to this room tonight.
So, welcome everyone. My name is Heidi Scheleski, for those of you who have not heard it yet, but I'm sure you've read it somewhere in the room. I was born and raised just west of the city, outside of Chicago, and I'm so fortunate to call it my home here. My studio is in Pilsen, in Chicago. That's where I painted all of the pieces that you see here today. And so I would say that the steps along the way are an interesting one. I began painting about 5 years ago, and it is all thanks to my sister, who is here in the audience today, because, yes, because I had told her I had drawn faces and realism for years, and I was curious about painting, and she did what any loving sister would do, and she bought me paints. So I began painting 5 years ago during COVID, and I was so fortunate that people were interested in my artwork and began to buy it and collect it. And so now here, I feel like along the journey, I just began doing more with my art in the last year or so. I've been painting for the last 5, but it seems like the universe was in my favor this year into growing into a bigger space, so I'm very fortunate that you're all here tonight sharing it with me.
So I'm going to ask questions, but I also would like the audience to think of questions, especially as you look at these fine works. But my first question is, what does the word interlinked mean to you as the artist, as you include it into the spirit of the exhibition, and where does it formulate in your work?
So for those of you who don't know, I'm a very spiritual person. I take a lot of inspiration from the deeper realities and thoughts in life. I don't settle for the bare minimum in that sense. I think it's interesting that life is so complex, so it's up to us to understand it and make our own meanings out of what we find. And so the word interlinked, I would say, Pat, it's about our connection to ourselves, and it's a connection to other people. I think that those two often overlap, because the more that we understand about ourselves, the more that we're able to understand other people.
Good. So you do other things in your life that can be considered artistic. You call yourself a creative entrepreneur, for example. And expressing yourself in that realm and projection, how do the other things in your life feed your artistic soul and allow you to understand it better?
So I love this, because in my life, it's always that it's funny as an artist, because I feel it's so rare that we are creative in only one aspect. I think that everyone is creative. I think genuinely everybody in this room is creative in some way, shape, or form. And I think it's about knowing where we are creative and growing into that. And so for me, a lot of the things that I do, I am an author, I am an artist, I am also a creative director with fashion photography. There's a lot of different things that I've done. I've worked as a stylist, and I think that I just enjoy the opportunity to be creative. And I enjoy having a curiosity with life. We talked about this deeper in our interview. So Pat and I recently did an interview together, if you'd like to check it out. And so in the interview, we talked about this, because I think that having a curiosity in life is so important, and I think that's what really gives me the encouragement to be creative, because I'm curious about what it will allow me to see differently, if I can evolve something to a more deeper, complex, or maybe simplify it. I don't know. I think that I just enjoy the opportunity to be curious and creative.
Very good. So, as I look around at the pieces, I notice a lot of duality. We talked about in our interview about the themes of relationships, in this exhibition. But how does the profundity of love define your work? As we seek love in our own lives, how many definitions can we feel for that one challenging word? And how can we profess those definitions in our own life and art?
So for those of you who haven't heard me say it about 1,000 times tonight, the collection is about love and relationships. So every piece that is here tonight is about some kind of deeper connection with other people or a philosophy. And I think what's important about that, what I realized for myself and why I decided to explore this concept, was because I realized that our connections with other people are so impactful and important. And I truly believe that love can be found everywhere. And it can be found within ourselves, with other people, it can be found with animals, in our experiences, in the work that we do. I think that there are so many definitions for love, and I think that it is up to us to make the sort of meaning and interpretation of them. So I would say that, you know, like this piece here, for instance, is about reincarnation. It's called In Every Lifetime. And I chose to go ahead with this concept because I've always loved studying different philosophies and things like that, but I love the idea of reincarnating with the people you love. And so love finds us every time. And so the idea is the Mandela effect. So you have the Mandela, life keeps turning, and the cats with the 9 lives, like, I will find you in every lifetime. So I think that the people we love find us and we find them all in their right time.
It's beautiful. I was wondering, because you do title your works. Sometimes artists title them, sometimes they don't. Now, do those titles become apparent before you put a brushstroke on, or does it emerge as the piece emerges?
So in a previous collection, I kind of do that process where I named the pieces and then painted them. I did not do that for this collection. So each collection I had the concept or the symbols in mind that I wanted to work with, but then I named them after the fact. The piece over there with the threads, that one I just finished. So that one I just named like within the last 24 hours.
How exciting. So let's open it up for anybody who has a question. Don't be shy. Yes, ma'am.
Hi. So Heidi and I actually connected through art. I'm a filmmaker, and I know for me, sometimes when I, write something and you go through the process of like breaking down a script and actually making the film. Sometimes in that process, especially if it's something that has to do with an experience that I personally lived, sometimes by the end of it, the film means something completely different than what it meant when I started. And so your pieces, again, has so much duality, and especially with themes such as relationships and love. Was there any piece that, like, as you worked through it, the process changed how you saw the piece?
Wow, that is a powerful question. I would say that, yes, for several of the pieces, because something that I really enjoy about painting, I do everything free-handed. Like, I take an inspiration and I'll start at a focal point and I'll expand outward on the piece. But what I love about the pieces is that they did change things for me. This piece here, the largest piece of the collection is 6 foot by 4 foot. Keep your eyes on me. This one, the concept was really about 2 strong people coming together, focusing on each other. They're different, they're strong, but yet they are magnetic. And I love the symbolism in this piece personally, but when I started painting it, I had a different vision for it. I had someone in mind when I was painting this piece, and that changed during the painting process. So it was interesting because that's how quick our relationships can change. And I think that's our job as the life liver, right? Like the person alive, is that we are always in control of the creative vision of our own lives. So that's what I would love to encourage everyone to as an artist.
Great. Another question? Don't be shy. Let me talk about, here we go.
Hello. I I know all of these pieces probably speak to you, but is there a particular piece that speaks to you the most in this season in your life?
I'm like so impressed by the question here now. So I would say perhaps the piece that speaks to me most at this moment is either the piece with the swans or the one with the threads. And that's the one with the threads, the bound one. That one is likely because I just painted it. It's about the red string theory or the red thread of destiny. And that one is about waiting for the right connection to pull you in. And I feel like that one I resonate a lot with right now because I think that you have such amazing people in your life. Like, you are all such amazing people in my life that I think that sometimes you're waiting for that right little click to happen, where you're ready for, like, it's like the green light, right? The green light, your intuition hits and you're ready to move forward. And then the swan one I would say as well, because the swans, that was the first piece that I painted in this collection. So I guess the first and the last piece is a little poetic of where I'm at right now. But the swans, it's about two people who are perfect together, but it's misaligned. And I think there's a lot of poetry and beauty in that. And I feel like it's such a beautiful meaning. I love swans, so I hope that answers your question.
Now, do you feel like, when you're talking about destiny, for example, do you feel like the more you work or come into the purpose of your work, that you feel a sense of destiny with it, that you needed to be in this place and you needed to create this work?
I'm not sure if I'll be able to properly answer your question, Pat. I'm not going to lie. I feel like destiny and fate are a fickle thing.
Okay.
I think that it is a combination of both, and I think that everyone has an amount of destiny and fate in their own lives. So I think that for me personally, I would love to believe that I have manifested or had a play in my destiny to be in this moment, in this room with all of you, but I also believe that some things are truly out of our control, which is why I have a spiritual element in all of my pieces, because I truly think that there is a degree of spiritualism and energy in life that we just can't control, and it leads us into places like this.
The destiny of the water. Okay. Any other questions from the audience? Yes. Thank you, Francisco, with your running around there.
Hi. So I know you have a vision or a sense of what you're going to start painting, but as you start a painting, do you always see it through, or do another vision comes into your mind or another feeling and you start something else and then you kind of toggle back and forth?
So I would say that for the most part, I stick to the vision. I dream a lot, and I feel that a lot of my pieces come to me in dreams and different visions. Like, I'm a very visual person, right? Visual artist. But I do think that for the most part, the pieces, like I said, they do change as I paint them a little bit, and I allow for that space of imperfection, because I actually believe that our imperfections are like what make us unique, and it's what makes artwork human and real. Even our connections, right? Like the imperfections, those are the things you remember and grow fond of with your significant other and everything. But yes, I would say that for the most part, they stay pretty true to the vision. There are definitely pieces that I remove and I paint over. I wouldn't say that there are any in particular in this room that I decided to paint over, but that's because I was very clear in the concept, if that makes sense.
So the artist often thinks about or talks about the muse. What is an example of a muse in your work, either as a concept or even a person?
Relationships. Genuinely, that is why I'm so thankful and thrilled to see all of your faces in here tonight, because whether you may realize it or not, you have impacted me too. And I feel like my relationships, they have inspired me to be creative, to express myself differently, to explore things that I wouldn't normally have. I mean, I mentioned it earlier, but my sister, she opened up art to me in this sense. So it's always encouraging when you realize that your relationships can affect you for better or for worse, but sometimes they are the things that really set you apart in your trajectory in life.
Yes.
So do I have a microphone or I just speak loud? Oh, here.
So I'm Andrea. I want you to talk a little bit about your relationship with color and the paint, if that's possible.
So I am very particular about my use of color. For those of you who don't know, all the colors that you see besides pure white and pure black are all mixed by me. So if there's a shade of pink, a shade of purple, browns, I have curated all of those colors specifically. And so when I decided to do this collection, I wanted something romantic and moody. For those of you who don't know, those are two adjectives that I would also use to describe myself. So, so I would say that I was very particular about the color use, but yes, I would say I wanted it to be moody and emotional because I wanted people to view the art and be drawn into it through their own emotional experiences in relationships.
Well, as I look at your work too, I'm curious about how you celebrate the connection between the human experience, the natural world, and the spirituality of your creativity in your work.
As I mentioned previously, I feel that there is a spiritual element that we cannot deny in life. There is something uncontrollable about living that is out there, and some people call it God, universe, energy, whatever it is. I think that it is out there, and I feel like it really influences my own work because I feel like those things are intangible and they're experienced, but if I can give a natural depiction to them, perhaps I could give a different understanding to someone else, and that would make their life more meaningful, more easy, like whatever it is.
That's great. Anybody else with a question out there? Yes, gentleman in the back there, Francisco. And he's approaching.
As you put your idea together on the canvas, do you also consider what's the right tool, medium on which to convey that idea, and how does that come together?
I appreciate the question because most people, and I've had it several people ask me tonight if I use oil, and I use acrylic. And that's for one reason, it's because I'm impatient. So I don't want to wait for the oil to dry. The acrylic, though, I do use it to dry quicker, but I enjoy blending my colors. So I take all my colors and I blend it on the palette, on the canvas, all of those things. But I would say I just use normal paintbrushes. I do work a lot with my hands, so if there's certain blending or something, I like to kind of mix it with my hands. Which I just like the symbolism of that because I like that it's like a human touch to my pieces. So I'm sure in somewhere in all the pieces you'll find like my fingerprints and all that kinds of stuff in there.
Well, in a couple works you have hands as a centerpiece. What fascinates you about hands and how they interconnect to what you do in your work?
Something that I love about artwork is when you see something that you love, you want to touch it. I feel this way. I want to touch the artwork, and I think that is because, again, we want connection. As humans, we desire connection. So that's why all the pieces, I want everyone to feel like, that is the second time I've done it. But so, I want everybody to feel a kind of connection. Thank you. And I feel that through hands, people recognize that because we reach out to each other, we engage with each other, we hug each other, we hold hands. Like there's a huge part of connection and symbolism in hands.
Great. So, anybody else in the audience? Okay, let's wrap this up. Oh, I'm sorry.
What is something that your friends, family, or audience never pick up about you that you want them to know about you?
Are you trying to get me in trouble? I personally feel like being a creative person and an entrepreneur as well, it is lonesome. It is lonely because I think that to an extent, to be an artist who's in pursuit of a bigger truth, you have to feel a degree of unseen, unheard, and misunderstood. Because of those feelings that I feel, I pursue greater knowledge and connections. So in a way, I suppose it indirectly affect my family and friends and in my relationships because I live with that sense of loneliness almost constantly. So because of that, even though it's in my relationships and I love to give people love and make sure that they are seen and heard, I often feel that I'm not, but that's okay with me because it gives me it enables me to pursue my creativity further.
Very nice. Yes.
Hey Heidi. So I'm curious. We met a long time ago, and you were creative directing. And as a stylist, I'm just curious. How did you start? Like, what made you think, oh, I want to creative direct fashion, and I don't just want to pursue art, like making art.
So, yes, I feel that part of what I enjoy most about art is that I creatively directed all of this, thanks to my sister again, shout out, she helped name the drinks. Remember me, love that. And so I feel that it's a vision, right? Like being a creative director, I have to come in with a concept or a vision and execute it. I have to be able to bring people together, which is something that I don't get through my artwork because it's such a solo process. I've collaborated with other artists before, visual artists, but it's not the same. It's fun and it's enlightening and it's good to do, but when I'm able to creatively direct a shoot, what I love about that is I'm bringing people together and we're able to, Pat and I talked about this, we're able to create a third space. So what I kind of consider a third space is like, you have your creativity, I have mine, and when we come together, we're creating something totally unique that you wouldn't get otherwise. And so I think every time you create with other people, it creates more layers to that, which I love.
Great. Any more questions from the, oh my gosh, we got a lot of questions. There's another one. I love this. I just like it.
Heidi, you mentioned your studio in Pilsen. Could you elaborate about that a little bit?
So everyone, I would like you to say hello to Mandy, who's one of the studio owners. Her partner Lily could not make it tonight. I did see her this morning when I was arranging some of the artwork. She actually gave me the beautiful roses that you see on the counter today, Lily did. And so I actually paint all of the content that you see on my Instagram and everything. That is from Seasonal, which is SZNL. They are located in Pilsen. They are a creative space, and so all the brick and stuff that you see, that beautiful space is where I've curated this whole collection. I love it there. Shout out to Mandy and Lily at Seasonal. Definitely give them a look.
Nice plug.
Hi, good evening. So excited to be here. I'm wondering, what is your biggest takeaway from the Interlinked art exhibition, like this go around? And if you've done something like this before, if this is your first time, and great job putting it together also.
Oh, Cassie, thank you. That was so sweet. So with the collection, I would say I've never done an art release to this scale before. And that's why I'm seriously so grateful that you guys showed up. I had a nightmare last night. I was like, oh my God, what if they don't come? What if it snows again? And so thanks for being here again. But I would definitely say this experience has taught me so much. There's so much that goes into an event in general. As you know, we're going to do another plug right now. Cassie is the founder and creator of Antics. So if you've ever gone to Antics before, it's a phenomenal fashion show and event. So yes, the event curation is insane, but it's like the details, you know, what drinks are we having? Have I done the art labels? Shout out to Cam for helping with the art labels. There she is. And so, everybody in this room, I feel like, has contributed to something tonight, and if it weren't for all of you, I genuinely don't think I would have gotten here, so thank you.
So let's wrap this up right now. There is a quote from Jose Saramago from his novel Blindness that states, "Inside us there is something that has no name. That something is what we are." Can you understand through your own words and works what that nameless thing inside you is? How you are constantly pursuing it, and how it continues to affect your everyday evolution? Serious.
Ooh, okay. I would say that curiosity that I have that never leaves me, I feel like it reminds me that there is always going to be an ambiguous element to life that I'm in pursuit of. And perhaps that is a deeper recognition of myself. Perhaps it is a higher meaning of what is happening right now in this moment. I really couldn't tell you, but I think that there is a beauty in not knowing, actually. I think that in not knowing, we're able to discover more and learn more about ourselves and our lives, and I think that changes throughout our lives. So I know that maybe is not a satisfying answer to some of you, but I truly believe that the answers that we find are meant for us, and I think that that nameless space that exists out there is where we will always find ourselves eventually.
But you can't get any more passionate than that. How about giving it up for Heidi? And if anybody has any more questions, he's right here to talk to you. So thanks to everybody for coming out, and thanks to Anastasio and Francisco for this beautiful space, Lincoln Park Room. So anything else you want to conclude with?
Yes. Well, first and foremost, Pat, I would like to say thank you. Can everybody please give a hand for Pat? Pat is a phenomenal film critic, and his work and articles, we just did one together, but it is definitely worth the read. So if you like to read or listen, please make sure you check out his work.
HollywoodChicago.com.
Thank you. I would also like to thank the Lincoln Park Room. So Francisco, Stas, wherever you guys are, I don't know where you guys are. Oh, there you are. So thank you. I really cannot thank you enough, because truly if it weren't for your belief in my work, I would not be here right now. So the space is beautiful. I'm so happy to be here. Thank you guys. I'm gonna try to go through this, but I have two also important people to thank here. One is our sponsor back there, Lucias, where are you? Take a wave for all of the beautiful food and delicious. Make sure that you guys give them a follow. I have their QR code up here by the artist poster, so make sure that you give them a follow. And then our other sponsor is Brian D. Johnson, who was not able to make it from out of town tonight, but he is an incredible best-selling author and publishing consultant. For those of you who don't know, I have ghostwritten books before and I've done work with him. He's incredible to work with. If you are looking to publish, definitely the person to talk to. And so he was able to sponsor our drinks tonight. So we love the drinks. So all that information is over here for you to check out. Please enjoy the rest of the evening with the food. The DJs, our 2 DJs are in the back. They're going to get started in just a moment here. Thank you guys again for coming. It really seriously means the world to me. I wish I could thank you all individually, and I will get there. But please enjoy the evening, and thank you again for coming tonight.
Some pictures of them too.